Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishna te namaha. My dear monastic brothers, my very dear devotee sisters and brothers, this is the 178th birthday. That means Sri Ramakrishna was born 177 years before today. Since the morning, 4:45, we are singing his glory as if he is born today only. So much of joy. Everybody is thinking that something has happened here. What is that something? Sri Ramakrishna is born. So as if he is born today, from early morning we are enjoying it. As Swami Ashutoshananda has already spoken to you, he has given a great message for our country and the world, by following which we would be better, the world would be better. What makes him live in our memory even after such a long period? Usually we are all used to have the memories of people who are rather a little outstanding, but the memory does not go beyond a very limited time. In some cases it survives only for few days after they pass away, and in some cases it survives a few months. In some cases it survives a few years. And to survive after decades and decades, it requires a very extraordinary personality. And that which survives after centuries, there can be no equal to it. Only the Lord's name remains even after centuries. After they pass away, it is as if more the centuries pass, fresher their memories become, greater the effect of their memory on the people and in the society. So what is it that make him live in our memory even after such a long time? As an answer to this one, we can say, so he had a very, very loving personality. And he was a perfect person. Everything about him was attractive. Therefore, and his perfection manifested itself as compassion to humanity. So this great quality in him, his fantastic infinite love for humanity, his perfection in everything that a human being can aspire for, physical, moral, intellectual, emotional and spiritual side. Any side of man you take, he was a perfect man. So that his perfection, and this perfection manifesting itself as a tremendous compassion to every person in humanity. And these three things make him so attractive, we cannot forget. Nobody will be able to forget if once they come into contact with his life and message. His love towards humanity, towards every person, every being, was a spiritual love. It has an infinite dimension. Everybody used to think that he loves him more than others. Vaishnavas used to think that he is a Vaishnava. He loves Vaishnavism more. Shaktas used to think, no, he is a good Shakta. He loves Shaktaism more than others. Everybody would feel that they are loved more. The fact was, he was loving everybody with an infinite love. There is no dimension for it. Everybody would think, I've got a lot of love. But that lot of does not get exhausted. The more he gives, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. More he gives of his infinite love, more remains with him. The next man also gets an infinite love. Third man also gets an infinite love. The same was told about Swami Brahmanandaji. Brahmanandaji used to love all his disciples, both householders and monastics. Each one would think he is loving him more. The fact was, he was giving a dimensionless love. So everybody thought he has got more than others. So this was the spiritual love that cut across all the caste barrier, social status barrier, gender barrier. Sri Ramakrishna, so how in a small village these caste barriers are so strong, but Sri Ramakrishna was free with all the castes. He would go to all the people of different castes, as if all of them belonged to him. And nobody objected to it also. Sometimes, the young people, they go here and there, but the parents will call them, hey, don't go there. They belong to such and such a caste. This caste you should not go. Here they are lower people, they are higher people. They go on instructing and the children are afraid of the parents and they fall into the barriers. Sri Ramakrishna never cared for the barrier. Even from the very young age, one Chini Shankari was there. Chini means Srinivas. Srinivas becomes a shortened form in Bengali, Chini. So he was Shakari. Shakari means he who makes bangles out of Shanka, the conch shells. So conch shell bangles are supposed to be very holy bangles in Bengal. So his profession was, he is a bangle maker and he would go to different houses and sell them. So naturally, he was not in a very high status in society. But Sri Ramakrishna was very intimate with him. He would go to his house. So he would worship him and then offer him sweets, etc. He would eat the sweets and bless the Chini Shankari. And as history has it, if anyone in this world recognized Sri Ramakrishna as an avatar, he is the first man to recognize. It was Srinivas Shankari, Chini Shankari of Kamarpukur, who first called Sri Ramakrishna as an avatar. That means Sri Ramakrishna revealed himself to the Chini Shankari first. He did not get all the high caste people, highly educated people, saints and seers that were around to reveal himself. He found out this Chini Shankari out of all persons, revealed to him, I am the Lord himself who has come. Because before Sri Ramakrishna was leaving Kamarpukur and come away to Calcutta to assist his brother, ostensibly, he was called by Chini Shankari to his hut secretly, and Chini Shankari made him stand under a bale tree and he worshipped him just like he would worship Sri Krishna or Sri Chaitanya. He was a great devotee of Chaitanya and Krishna. So he worshipped Sri Ramakrishna, a boy of 18-year-old, as Chaitanya, and then shedding tears in his eyes, he said, O Lord, how many more divine plays you are going to show to this world? I have become old, I may not live long. Please keep me in your mind so that you grant me salvation when I give up this body. He prayed to him just as one would pray for God. So this is the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. Grace of Sri Ramakrishna comes cutting across all caste barriers, all gender barriers, all social status barriers. Dhani Kamarni was there. Dhani is the name of that lady. Kamarni is a blacksmith lady. She belonged to the profession of blacksmiths. So she was a woman from that. And she was just doing several chores in Chandramani's place. And it was she who was the nurse who delivered the baby of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was born under her care, under her service to Chandramani. And as soon as the child was born, it seems this Dhani Kamarini, she thought within herself, I must have had a son like this. He should have born in my womb. Like that it seems she thought. This love of a mother towards the child, this attitude continued in her. So when Gadadhara grew up, when he was about to be invested with sacred thread, then Dhani Kamarni went and requested him, Gadadhar, you are not my son, but I have always been thinking that you are my son. So now your sacred thread, the Brahma Sutra is being invested to you. So can you not take the first bhiksha from me, first alms? The brahmachari, after he is invested with the sacred thread, he goes and begs just like a sannyasin. And then several people will offer him. The person who offers first has got a credit, a preference. So this Dhani Kamarni wanted to be the first offerer of that alms. And this boy, knowing full well the village customs, knowing full well the orthodoxy family he has born in, knowing full well that there will be tremendous opposition, he promised her, all right, I will take the first bhiksha from you. When actually the ceremony was performed, there was a big furor. So brothers and the other relatives, he said, what? You are born in a high family, how can you go and take first bhiksha from Dhani? Dhani belongs to blacksmith caste, you cannot go. So brother is against and other relatives are against. Swami Sri Ramakrishna, Gadadhar at that time, he said, I have given a word to her, I must keep up this word. This compassion. So he said, I must keep up my word. Otherwise, I will not eat, I will not drink, I will be inside my room. You do whatever you want. He closed his room, protested. Then all the people had to come down. One of the leaders and also a very scholarly person in the village, he said, no, some great people have done like this earlier also. So you allow Gadadhar. Otherwise, he will not come out and it may lead to all sorts of other problems. Then Gadadhar opened the door, got the first bhiksha from Dhani Kamarni, showing to the world that he is not an ordinary boy that has come. He has come to cross all the barriers of caste, gender, social status or whatever it is. He is for all, for every people. So this was the beginning of his life. Fantastic. If you just look at it, what a tremendous power of will he should have had to face the whole family, whole village, and then hold on to a principle, the truthfulness. The word that is given cannot be taken back. So this was all due to the devotion of that Dhani. Similarly, Chini Shankari was also revealed that he is the avatara because of his devotion. Simple devotion is what Sri Ramakrishna has asked for right from his beginning. Till the end he used to say, if you have devotion to God, you have achieved everything. In fact, he again and again said the goal of human life is God realization, he has said in many places. He comes down a step and then says, the goal of human life is to develop love for God. You develop devotion for God, so your human life is fulfilled. Our love for money, love for creature enjoyment is so much. If we can neglect, if we can push aside this creature comforts and the greed for money, if we can turn our mind to God and develop a love for God, Sri Ramakrishna says, we have made our life worthwhile. Human life is barren, is useless without developing love for God. When once the love for God comes, that means God has started attracting us. There is no question of failing anywhere on the way. God will certainly attract us unto Himself and we will realize God. So Sri Ramakrishna would put it in a simple way, you must develop love for God. So this sort of a crossing all the caste barriers, social status, gender, this is the thing that we see, his unqualified love for humanity. He belongs to the whole humanity. And the perfection is a person. In whatever way you look at him, he is the perfect ideal, perfect model for humanity. In the West, perfection is attributed to a person if he is physically beautiful and if he is intellectually a scientific-minded person, a rational person, a logical person, a philosopher. So that is the mental perfection. And then goodness. Goodness means loving others in a physical way. Love your father, love your mother, love your wife, love your children, and show a little love to society people also. So this is the love. So if somebody has all this, he is a perfect person. This is the Western ideal of a perfection, beauty, truth, and goodness, all directed to physical things. So that perfection will not work in India. In India, our perfection is the person who is perfect, he must have direct spiritual knowledge of God. He must say, I have seen God and I have touched God, I have spoken to God. God is always with me, I am in God. He must have a direct spiritual experience of God. He is the perfect man for us. And this spirituality must transform itself into a spiritual love, loving everyone in the world and with compassion and all-round service to one and all. He loves everyone, so he has got always compassion. He never looks into the faults of others. Everybody is dear to him. If other people call somebody bad, no, he has got good qualities also. Somebody went and told that in this Calcutta all people are bad. In fact, they were bad at that time. So people recognized that Calcutta was a very, very unspiritual city. Sri Ramakrishna himself once remarked, when Narendranath came to him for the first time, he found Narendra completely indrawn. Sri Ramakrishna says, when Narendra entered from the door, I saw half his mind was inside only. He was meditating as it were. And only half the mind was outside. And first what I thought about him was, can there be such a sattvic boy in Calcutta, such a worldly place? This is Sri Ramakrishna's remark about Calcutta. So, in that place, his compassion in Calcutta, somebody said, everybody is bad. Immediately Sri Ramakrishna remarked, no, I saw so-and-so, whom you call as bad, he is taking the name of God in the night. One day I was going in front of his house, he was taking the name of God aloud. You see, even in a bad person also there are patches of good, as there are patches of bad in good people also. Sri Ramakrishna only took the good and called he is a good person. So such a person, he has compassion to everyone and he is ready to serve everyone in his own way. People don't require only spiritual service. Some people may require intellectual service. Some people may require moral service. Some people may require physical service. Sri Ramakrishna was very aware. We have to serve people as per their need. If a man is suffering from want of food and clothing and medicine, giving food and clothing and medicine is the service to him. That is the worship of God in that man. Similarly, when he has got enough food, enough raiment, enough shelter, he is provided with ordinary comforts, then he may require education. Then education is the way by giving which you can serve God in him. Similarly, when a man gets education, so he must become a good man. We have got lots of educated people, but very few good people are there. Education is not giving goodness at all. Vidya vinaya sampanne. Vidya always brought humility, goodness in people. But now Vidya is begetting only ego and egotism and pride, haughtiness, separation from the society. It should not happen. Real education must make us good. So this goodness must come with education. So when people are provided with other amenities of life, they require education that makes them good also. Goodness is to be considerate to others. This is goodness. To think of oneself as part of the community. This is goodness. Swami Vivekananda called goodness as selflessness. Wherever there is selflessness, he is a good man. So selflessness, the essence of morality is selflessness, Swamiji said. If a man is supposed to be very good, very moral, that means he is absolutely selfless. He is caring for others more than for himself. So Sri Ramakrishna always said people want moral education. Education in selflessness. How do you give education in selflessness? By being yourself selfless. More selfless we are, our brothers, our sisters, our sons, our daughters, our grandchildren, they become selfless. Values are caught, they are not taught. So this selflessness is a value which is to be caught by the younger people. You become selfless, children will become selfless. Children will become selfless, grandchildren will become selfless. So Sri Ramakrishna said, people require this education, moral education also. For that, we must have enough of selflessness in us. We must exhibit it also in our selflessness, in serving our elders, serving the weaker people, serving the children, serving the ill people, people who are diseased, who are unable to manage themselves. The selflessness must manifest in every way. Sri Ramakrishna not only advised, he himself went to every type of service and exhibited to all that we must be ready to serve humanity. And this, through this compassion and all-round service to one and all, he exhibited his love. And the love for humanity, that means he loved God in man. Always he used to say, Shivajnane Jiva Seva. To do good to man is not the man who is appearing as a body. It is the man inside the heart of whom the Lord himself is sitting. Each man is a temple of God, Swami Vivekananda said. That was what Bhagavad Gita also said. Ishvara sarva bhutana hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. In the heart of every man the Lord is sitting. Heart of every being the Lord is sitting. So when we serve man, we are serving God himself, we are not aware. This is what Swami Vivekananda taught. This is what Sri Ramakrishna taught to Swami Vivekananda also. Don't consider man as a man. Man is a manifest form of God himself. God himself has presented himself before you as man. To serve man is to serve God himself. If with this attitude we can serve humanity, they may be our relatives, friends, sons, daughters, granddaughters, husband, wife, whoever it is. When you serve them, think that you are serving God, not the human being. This type of service can take you to the highest of God realization itself. This is what Sri Ramakrishna taught through Shivajnane Jiva Seva. To Swami Vivekananda he said, so you serve man as you are serving God himself. You are serving God inside every man. Every time you serve the man, remember God that is inside him. This will open up your eyes for the presence of God in everyone. And it slowly matures into a tremendous love for God. And it will end up in God realization itself. Swami Vivekananda later on, he advocated this path to all humanity. The whole humanity can follow because everybody wants to serve. Everybody is expected to serve in human society. Instead of thinking it is a social service, think it is a spiritual practice that you are doing. You are worshipping God in man. So another Swami called this path as Seva Yoga. It is a yoga through seva, yoga through service. Service means serving God in man. So Sri Ramakrishna's love, infinite love manifested in his compassion to everyone, in his all-round service to everybody. So that is his revolutionary statement, this Seva Yoga statement he made to Swamiji. Swamiji, on that day, he said, I have learned something very great, which I am going to teach to the whole world, which he has done. All the last 100 years, more than 100 years, the fantastic humanitarian activities that are going on in this country, where Seva was unknown. Buddhists were the people who introduced Seva into their Sangha and into the Buddhist society. The other Hindu society was more contemplative, more meditative, more mystic than going out to serve God in man. It is after Sri Ramakrishna's advent, the Seva Yoga has caught this country. Today there is no organization, including the monastic organizations of the orthodox type also, the Dashanami Sampradaya also, the other Vaishnava and Tantra and Shaiva Sampradayas also. Everybody is doing this Seva Yoga, serving God in man. This is the gift of Sri Ramakrishna because of his great love and compassion to humanity. So, another point which attracts us to Sri Ramakrishna was the gift of infinite joy and love which he would give to everyone. Whoever would go to him, he would return with a great smile on his face. He might have gone with all sorts of frustration, depression, and perhaps a desire to commit suicide also, as happened in the case of Master Mahashay. Master Mahashay, the recorder of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, went to Sri Ramakrishna with the idea, let me have a darshan. Somebody said there is a Paramahamsa here. I have come to this garden of Dakshineshwar. So my friend Sidhu says there is a Paramahamsa living here, along with this garden. So another part of the garden is this Paramahamsa. Let me see this Paramahamsa also, and then commit suicide. That was his idea. He was to commit suicide. Before that one, some good thing let us do. So that is how he went and peeped into Sri Ramakrishna's room. And the gift Sri Ramakrishna gave him was of infinite joy. His mind was filled with depression, with the idea of to commit suicide. He had lost all interest in life, in family, in everything. At that 0 point of his emotion, he goes to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna raises to the highest level. He is filled with joy because the first remark he makes is, he sees Sri Ramakrishna talking to so many people in his room. As soon as he sees him, he immediately forgets all his depression, his desire to commit suicide. Oh, this person who is talking to them, he does not know it is Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, except he has heard from Sidhu, there is a Paramahamsa there. So as soon as he looks at Sri Ramakrishna sitting on the cot and all the people sitting in Dakshineshwar room, listening to him, this man looks like Shukadeva himself, the greatest Paramahamsa that the Bhagavata can give you is Shukadeva. Swami Vivekananda himself was called Shukadeva by Sri Ramakrishna. Sister Nivedita mentions, Sri Ramakrishna had the best word, best name to call Swami Vivekananda. He is my Shuka, he used to say. Swami Vivekananda also used to say, Shuka is my ideal. Why? He was unmoved by happiness or depression. Anything that may happen in the world, it never touched him at all. He never came down from the idea that he was the child of God. He was God himself. So he did not realize that he had a body at all. He would move, 16-year-old boy, without any cloth, like a Paramahamsa. All people would also feel he is an angel going. Nobody would feel any bodily consciousness when they would see Shuka. So Swamiji himself used to pride. My Guru used to call me Shuka. Shuka is my ideal. So this Shuka, as soon as Master Mahasaya sees Sri Ramakrishna, immediately strikes him. Here is Shuka, a born perfect Paramahamsa who never knows that he is a human being. He is only a God. Here is Shuka sitting there. And what about all these people that are sitting around? They look like the rishis of the Naimisharanya. That is the Bhagavata. The context of Bhagavata, where it was taught, it is Naimisharanya. It is in the Naimisharanya, this Parikshit was there. Parikshit was in a depressed mood as this Yam was there. And he has to die. So the curse has come upon him. How to make best use of these 8 days and reach the highest in spirituality? That was his question. For that, Shuka comes and then teaches the Bhagavata. This man immediately is transported to that level. Is it ever possible? Most of us, you are all here in the metropolis of Chennai or metropolis of all other 4 metropolises. So many psychologists are there here, and they will tell you when a man gets into depression, to lift him up, not one sitting is enough. Maybe for months together you sit, even then his depression will not go. He has to be given electric shock, he has to be given tablets, tranquility tablets, put him to sleep, or maybe you will have to hypnotize him. After doing all that also, it never leaves, it comes back again. This is the condition of depression. Here is Master Mahasaya who goes, and then immediately he is transported to the highest joy. He feels the Shuka is sitting there, all the rishis are sitting, the whole Dakshineshwar is like a Naimisharanya. And when he turns back, when he's leaving, he meets Sri Ramakrishna for a few minutes, for a few ordinary questions. Where did you come? Where are you staying? Come again. So Sri Ramakrishna, that was the magic word he used to use, come again. So this caught this yam. So how can he come again if he commits suicide? The question of coming again does not arise. So already his mind has lifted up, so suicide has gone. So he is thinking, when should I come? Why I can come tomorrow itself? He has called me, come again. So I can come tomorrow itself. While going, the person who went with an idea to commit suicide, while returning, he is full of joy and he wants to come back again to that place which gave him the first dose of that infinite joy. It was not only Master Mahashi. How many numberless people went to Sri Ramakrishna with depression, with sorrow in their mind, unquenchable sorrow, and they enter there. By the time they leave his room after an hour, after a few minutes, they are smiling as if nothing has happened. Golap Ma was one. Ma was a child widow. She had only one daughter, and that daughter also died. So she was so much depressed. So nobody could assuage her misery. Somebody, Yogin Ma suggested, or another friend, Yogin Ma was also a child widow. Then she suggested, go to Sri Ramakrishna. He will assuage your grief. This lady, she could not believe first. But anyway, anybody when sinking, any good advice you take. Similarly, she took the advice of Yogin Ma and went to Sri Ramakrishna. While entering his room also, people have seen her, full of sorrow. She is depressed and she feels that there is no hope in her life. So with that mood, she enters Sri Ramakrishna and she stays with him for half an hour or 45 minutes, and Sri Ramakrishna talks to her and places his hand on her head and blesses her. This is all that happens. In 45 minutes when she comes, she is smiling as if, she has got all the fortune in the world. She has got all the good that can happen has happened to her. She came smiling. She herself says later on, when I came out, I forgot all my misery. I felt that there is nothing has happened in my life. Why I was depressed? Why I was miserable? There was no reason. And I came smiling out of his room. This tremendous communication of infinite joy, spiritual joy to anyone. After all, Golapma, what did she give him? A child widow, a person who had nothing for herself. What can she do? He was not bothered about getting anything. He was bothered about how much I can give. So gave without any reason. Ahaituki dana. There is no reason for that. Infinite joy he is giving without taking anything in return. He gave infinite joy to Advaita. As soon as Sri Swami Vivekananda met him for the second time, he is giving him the Advaitic knowledge. So generous. Give this infinite joy to anyone. Whoever in the history of spiritual life has seen anybody crying for devotees to come, he gets on to the top of his building. We have also top buildings, lot of buildings are there in Madras. You observe anybody is standing there on top and calling for his devotees, please come, I want to give you something which I have. No one you can has ever seen before Sri Ramakrishna or after Sri Ramakrishna also. It was this unique man who stood on the top of that kuti bungalow and then cried for the devotees to come. Oh devotees, where are you? Please come. I want to give you my wealth. I want to give you what I have acquired. Please come. And people started coming. So this communication of infinite joy to Naren and others, and Latu Maharaj comes. Latu is a shepherd boy. He has no samskara at all to start with. Sri Ramakrishna, when we just read Latu Maharaj's life, he himself says how we came from a family full of all superstitions, all bad habits. From that family he has imbibed that also. Though he was very young at that time, he could be corrected. But he had all the seeds of bad life, bad habits, and bad impressions on his mind. Such a person comes to Sri Ramakrishna. He turns him into one of the topmost saintly figures of his time. He himself says, Latu, you will become such an enlightened man. People will wonder at your knowledge. And it happened so. Latu Maharaj was called Plato by Swami Vivekananda, not for nothing. He knew that he was a Plato. Latu Maharaj himself says, I was so well trained by Sri Ramakrishna. So once I thought I will compete with Swami Vivekananda in meditation. It is in his life, it is written. So Latu Maharaj says, I wanted to compete with Swami Vivekananda, past master of education, whom Sri Ramakrishna has appointed the leader of all these Paramahamsas. So I wanted to compete with him in meditation. So I started meditating and found he is far, far ahead of me. So I intensified my meditation. By the time I go 10 steps, he has gone 100 steps away. So trying hard. Later on I gave up the struggle. And then I said, after all, Narayan is our leader. And Sri Ramakrishna has made Narayan like that. I can't do anything in this. He accepted defeat and told others, I tried this one. What a simple person he is. And what a high state of meditative skill he has been trained by Sri Ramakrishna, the shepherd boy. What made Sri Ramakrishna do him like that? That desire to impart this infinite joy, infinite knowledge to everyone. So Sri Ramakrishna was a Vijnani. He was not an ordinary Jnani. He himself used to say, Jnani is a person who has known that God alone is true. And what about this world? World is like a dream. This is the Jnani stand. This is the classical Advaita stand also. Anybody becomes a Jnani, so then he will consider this world as a sort of a dream, as a sort of a false existence it has. It doesn't have a real existence as we feel now. So when one becomes a Jnani, he feels this whole world is a dream. So he doesn't feel like going and helping somebody in the world. Somebody is suffering. All this suffering is in a dream. In a dream you suffer. You don't lose anything. In the dream you lose millions of dollars or millions of rupees. You don't weep for that one. It is a dream and rupee only. So this is how a Jnani feels. Sri Ramakrishna said, there is a higher state than that. Swami Vivekananda wanted to become a Jnani. He had become a Jnani. He attained to Nirvikalpa Samadhi and then he enjoyed that feeling of God alone as the existence. Nothing else is true. God alone is true. Whole world has become apparent. It has become like an illusion. It does not have any effect upon you at all. So in this infinite bliss, he went and approached Sri Ramakrishna and then said, please allow me to be drowned in this knowledge of Brahman, Jnani state. Sri Ramakrishna said, no, there is a higher state than that. This is the great contribution of Sri Ramakrishna to the very Vedanta itself. Vedanta is several thousand years old. To Vedanta he has contributed something new. That's what Swami Tapasyananda writes. Swami Tapasyananda writes in his essay on Bhavamukha, he says, this term Vijnani and Vijnana is a special contribution to the Vedantic literature by Sri Ramakrishna. What did he mean by Vijnani? Vijnani is a spiritual scientist, a person who has experienced God and with open eyes as well as with closed eyes. The Jnani sees God with closed eyes. Atman everywhere, God everywhere. So everything else is untrue. This is Jnani. But Vijnani is, after realizing that one, he opens his eyes and sees the God himself has become all the jivas and the external world also. The wall is also God, the window also is all God. All the external nature is God, including men, the jivas. Jivas are also God. With open eyes also he sees the same Brahman. with closed eyes also in Samadhi he sees the same Brahman. This is a much higher state, post-Advaitic state. That's what Tapasyananji calls this. Sri Ramakrishna held this ideal before his disciples. He himself experienced this. He wanted all his disciples to be Vijnanis. Don't consider this world as false. This world is full of God and God's forms. All that you see is God. To serve God in everyone. Any being is there. Serve that. You are serving God himself. So he was a Vijnani. And he wanted everybody to become a Vijnani. Sri Ramakrishna used to give several examples. He saw one God with form, without form, beyond both form and formless. He saw God as Jivas and the world. He used to give the example of a big garden surrounded by a high wall. There was a mart of joy going on inside. So many wonderful things were happening. So some three friends were going. So they could hear the sound from inside. Sounds of joy, sounds of music, sounds of hurrah, hurrah. And so one of them got interested. He somehow climbed the wall, looked into it, and he was overwhelmed by the joy. Jumped inside on the other side of the wall. He disappeared. The other two expected nobody. He came out. The second man also, he also just jumped. And they jumped onto the top of the compound wall, looked there. He was also overwhelmed. He also jumped and went. Did not appear back at all and come and tell what is happening inside. Third man, somehow he also got on top. And in the meanwhile, so many other people have also come there. They were also waiting to see what is happening inside. This man did not jump inside. He also got the temptation of jumping in. He said, no, so many people are here waiting. They will go without the knowledge. Therefore, I must give the knowledge to them first. So he saw all the things, knew everything that is going on inside. He came out again and informed them, such a great joy is going on. Let us all go together and enjoy. He also compared the Vijnani to a person who ate mangoes, maybe Alfonso mangoes or Malgova mangoes. So very tasty. Somebody gave him one gentleman. So he cut and ate away the whole lot and threw away that seed also without anybody's knowledge. Another person who got a fruit like that, he cut it. He did not eat it himself, came and shared with all his friends. Sri Ramakrishna said, this Vijnani is like that. He enjoys the vision of God. He knows what God vision is. He knows what infinite joy is. After enjoying it himself, he does not want to keep for himself. He comes and shares with the whole society. Sri Ramakrishna was that Vijnani. But for him, today we would not have had this mission. We would not have devotees like you who think that religion is not only being happy yourself, you must make others also happy. Religion is sharing all the joys, physical joys, intellectual joys, mental joys, and spiritual joy also. There is no place for selfishness in spiritual life also. That is why Sri Ramakrishna called Vivekananda as a selfish person. When he said, I want to be absorbed in Samadhi, he said, you are a selfish person. You must be like that banyan tree which gives shelters to all the thousands of people and they all are assuaged from their torment of the sun. Similarly, you must be like a banyan tree in this world, helping thousands and thousands of hungering souls for spiritual solace and joy. So his compassion, Sri Ramakrishna's compassion to humanity is this. It attracts everyone, not only in India, from outside also. So his compassion goes to the lowliest first. There are people who require your compassion, of different status are there, but somehow or other Sri Ramakrishna's eyes would go to the lowliest man and he would show his compassion upon him. Rasik Mehtar was there. Rasik Mehtar is a scavenger. Mehtar is a scavenger in Hindi word. So one Rasik, Sri Ramakrishna used to call him in his own village language, Roshke. So this Roshke, who was in Dakshineshwar, he used to clean the road, the path, footpath, which led from Sri Ramakrishna's room to the Panchavati. So the Panchavati side he used to go for answering calls of nature. So this Raske used to clean, Rosik method. So he used to clean that one. He would be looking at Sri Ramakrishna. So this majestic Paramahamsa going and then coming back, shining with his spiritual light and imparting that knowledge and joy to everyone. So Rasik was every time feeling, so I am a low-born man. Can I go? Am I eligible to ask about this spiritual life? Can he give me anything about spiritual joy? So he was thinking it within himself. Every time he would see Sri Ramakrishna going up and down, Sri Ramakrishna also knew, let him have this thought several times, I will oblige him. One day suddenly when Sri Ramakrishna was coming back, Rasik felt the courage. Today I will ask him about it. So he fell at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna when he was returning from Panchavati and then said, Sir, will you not save me? And then Sri Ramakrishna asked, what do you want? You tell. No, I want to be saved by you. When I give up this body, so you must hold me by the hand and lead me into the highest. It will be granted. It is granted, he said. And Rasik, when he passes away, he remarks, Oh Thakur, you have come. He used to call Sri Ramakrishna as Thakur. Oh Thakur, you have come. Hold my hand, hold my hand. And Sri Ramakrishna held his hand and took him away. So this Rasik gets the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. So Rasik at least was very near his house. There were so many people who were far away from his house. There was no necessity for him to go there at all. Think of the Paramahamsa going to the Star Theatre, a theatre where in those times only men and women of disrepute, immoral character used to act. In those times, Swami Vivekananda says, when I was a young man, I felt it below my dignity to walk in front of a theatre. I would not walk on the theatre side of the road, he says. I would go to the opposite side of the footpath and walk. That was the disdain, that was the disrespect they had for these actors and actresses in a theatre. Sri Ramakrishna visits the theatre. Unimaginable, unimaginable. So he goes to the theatre. He says, Girish Chandra Ghosh has written a very good drama about Chaitanya Leela. I will go and see. So the devotees tell him, Chaitanya's part is played by one Vinodini. She is an immoral lady. And all the other people, Chaitanya's followers, Nityananda, etc., etc., they are all immoral people only. Will you go there? Why? I will see the real only when I see the imitation. Just as you see an imitation apple of wood, it is kept for show in your room. When you look at that one, oh, it appears as a true apple. So nowadays flowers are there. Regular flowers you don't get. So you purchase such a natural, artificial flower. It is a natural, it looks, but it is an artificial flower. Artificial brings to your mind the natural flower. Sri Ramakrishna at that time he says, why? I go to the drama, but I am going to see God behind these actors and actresses. I will see the real that is behind this apparent. He goes and then sees the drama. As the drama commences, he is going into ecstasy. He is seeing only Chaitanya, real Chaitanya. When the whole drama is over, Sri Ramakrishna goes into the green room. There was no necessity. He wants to go and bless the lowliest. The whole Calcutta, whole humanity hates them. I will love. They are my children. So, for the world does not know what is there inside these bad people. Inside them also the same God is there to demonstrate to the world. There is nothing in this world that you can despise as the worst. Even in the worst, there is the best. Only you must have the eye to see it. You must have the glory and power to redeem them. Sri Ramakrishna had that power. He could lift these people up. He goes into the green room, blesses Vinodini, placing his hand on her head, and tells her, you think of your Guru. Guru, Hari, Guru, Hari, Guru. You go on repeating this like a mantra, you will attain everything. She attained everything. After Sri Ramakrishna passed away in 1886, this greatest drama actress of the time, she gave up acting. She lived a holy life thinking about Sri Ramakrishna. She met Swami Brahmanandaji. She came and met Holy Mother. To Holy Mother she has sang songs which she used to sing in the drama, in the Chaitanya Leela and all that. Got the blessings of Mother. That is Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna would go to the lowliest, and that was the great compassion to him. And the middle class people and the upper class people, there were numberless. They used to come to him. He would bless everyone. So his glorification of renunciation. Sri Ramakrishna was known for his renunciation, vairagya. When Holy Mother was asked, what was the greatest thing with Sri Ramakrishna? Holy Mother, who is the Sahadharmini, who is the Shakti of Sri Ramakrishna, she knows better about Sri Ramakrishna than anybody else. She was asked this question. What was that was very great about Sri Ramakrishna, Mother? Was it the harmony of religions? That if he practiced all the religions? So Mother said, I don't think. That was his natural way of practicing anything that was there, anything good. He would try to put it in his life. So he came across so many religions and he practiced every religion. That was almost very natural to him. But what was extraordinary about him was his renunciation, she said. His vairagya, his detachment, absolute unattachment to anything in the world. What else can explain his renunciation than asking his wife to sleep with him for 8 months, and not an iota of bodily sense came to him, and as well as to Holy Mother also. This tremendous power of renunciation, Holy Mother used to refer. Renunciation was his sterling character. So his central point in his life was renunciation. But we are very much scared about this word renunciation. That's why Sri Ramakrishna talks to us in a very simple way. Don't be afraid of word renunciation. Vairagya is not to be afraid of. It is only when you love the Lord, then you begin to love Him. When you think of God as an eternal being, He is always with you. He is in your life leading you. And then when you leave this life also, He will lead you into the next world also. He is always with you. So God is always eternal companion to you. Think of God like this. Then you will start loving Him. When you start loving Him, that is the natural love. The God always is like a magnet and we are like iron filings. He attracts us. So God is already attracting. We begin to feel that attraction. When once we think, I want something eternal. I don't want all the things that will slip away from me. So all our relationship in the world, so all dearest people in our world who are very good to us also, they are not bad. But there is an end to this world itself. There is an end to my existence in this world. All is ephemeral. All is passing away. And what is eternal here? No eternal thing in this world. Either in our country or outside country, or perhaps in other planets also, there is nothing like eternal thing. Eternal thing is only God. When once we think we want something eternal to hold on to, then we develop love for God. This is bhakti. The more we develop this bhakti, we begin to yearn. We want to come into contact. We want to have an experience of this. And this yearning will take us further to experience of God Himself. So Sri Ramakrishna says, renunciation comes very naturally. When you think of God as an eternal thing, and on the contrary, the world is a temporary thing. Always think, world is all right, but what about this world? I have to leave this and go. Or the world itself will leave and go. Both the things are happening. Many times your relatives leave you and go away. Or sometimes you leave your relatives and go away. Something happens. In both the cases, nothing is eternal, nothing is long-lasting here. So you think about these worldly things as temporary, not long lasting, God is long lasting, eternal. So naturally, you will develop little by little detachment to the world and attachment to God. So this detachment to the world makes a sort of a natural attraction to God. So both this detachment to the world and attachment to God, both these things result in a yearning to realize God. This yearning, Sri Ramakrishna says, is the crimson of the morning, after which the sun will himself come. Lord himself will manifest before you. This is how he teaches us the great value of Vedanta, the renunciation, Vairagya. This Vairagya, when once it's come, the real spiritual life has started. This Vairagya manifests itself as love for God and less love for the world. More love for God, lesser love for the world. Most love for God, least love for the world. Then we come to realization itself. So even now, the people who have followed Sri Ramakrishna, they always feel that it is possible to develop this detachment to the world and attachment to God. Many devotees of ours, from every walk of life, we have seen wonderfully ending their life, indicating that they are very near God. Very recently, Amma who used to come here, you have all seen. This Amma, always she used to be speaking about God. Whenever I used to meet her, she will talk something about Sri Ramakrishna, something about which she has read in the Bhagavatam, and how Sri Ramakrishna also have told about this Bhagavatam. Always talking and thinking of Sri Ramakrishna. Her last moment came, she passed away a few weeks back, and while she going away, she said, "Oh mother, don't leave me, oh mother, don't leave me." Just like telling, she just passed away. Ordinary householder's life, from the outer point of view, here was a great soul, a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. So through her life, she has said that being in this world, she was interested, she used to come to the mat, she used to do good to others. Everybody was her friend. Doctors used to go, and the doctor used to come and tell me, "Swami, it is our privilege to treat this patient. She is a great, she is a great spiritual soul. It is our privilege to serve her." So this is how the doctors used to feel, her friends used to feel, we in the ashram used to feel. There was another case very recently. We have got their relatives also here. One Ravi Sarva, our artist was there. He has done so much of artwork for our Vedanta Kesari, for our Vijayam, for all. He was recently he passed away. Our Swamis went, and just before a few hours he went into coma, and after a few hours of coma he passed away. Just before that our Swamis went, he was in full knowledge. He said, "The pain is so much in this body. It is good Sri Ramakrishna takes me away to him. It is better Sri Ramakrishna takes me away to him." Taking Sri Ramakrishna's name and then going into coma, passing away. This is happening amidst us. All of us are capable of realizing the highest. And the Shastra says, at the last moment, whatever you think, you become that. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sadatad bhava bhavita. Bhagavad Gita says, in the last moment, if you think about God, you go to God himself. All these souls have gone directly to Sri Ramakrishna. How many thousands have gone earlier, and thousands are going now. Thousands and thousands will go in future. It is for that great purpose, to show way to every one of us. We live in the world, it's all right. The world is not permanent, is all right. But after coming into this impermanent world, we must go and reach these permanent feet of Sri Ramakrishna. And he has shown us this way. That is his great purpose of his advent. And his advent, today we are celebrating right from the morning. All of us are very lucky to think about this glorious life. May he inspire us to follow his simple method of practicing spiritual life,
simultaneously living a successful worldly life. Sri Ramakrishna's teaching will not take us away from the worldly life, but it makes our worldly life favorable to our spiritual life. And spiritual life will give us the eternal joy and peace. So may we pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother and Swamiji to bless us all that we may live well in this world, live also to realize our own spiritual goal through their infinite compassion and grace. Thank you very much.